Hey y'all, welcome back to Poplar Creek Farm. Today I'm in my basement. You can see the glow of the grow lights up there. We are actually going to start some more seeds today and resow a bunch of seeds. So this year I'm using a different seed starting mix. Now it's just a potting mix and it's Happy Frog. Highly recommended. People love it. And this one is this is just the Happy Frog, the Fox Farm Happy Frog potting soil. It's not the ocean one because the ocean one I guess is really harsh on like seedlings and stuff. But this one has been recommended for a lot of, seed starting and things. It's a little chunky, but that's not too terrible. But what I've struggled with so far is keeping it moist. I always bottom water even when I'm like just starting seeds, and normally the water absorbs up through the soil enough to keep the seeds moist. But what I've noticed is the top of my little pots are drying out really fast. And so we're struggling to keep things moist enough to actually germinate. I have had a few seeds germinate, but not a ton. So a couple things. I'm going to resow a bunch of onion seeds that didn't germinate. I'm going to probably resow some celery if I don't see a ton germinating. And I'm also, hopefully this will work. Because what I've been using is I have this like flexi hose thing down here. And I don't really have a ton of control on the flow. And if I'm spraying on the top, I don't want to like wash the seeds away. So I'm hoping this actually works. This was outside in my yard. The kids had messed with it. So I'm hoping it's not broken. And I'm hoping I can like either do a mist or a shower and have it moisten the top of the seeds, the top of the pots without washing the seed away, because then I can work on keeping the top moist a lot easier. The other thing we're starting today is brassicas. So it's a little early to start some of the brassicas, but I want to get them moved out early. A lot of times if I start broccoli, it gets out and it gets going and then it gets really hot and it bolts. And so I want to get them out a little bit earlier and have them a little bit more of a head start before I move them out. So that, we hopefully don't have issues with them bolting before they actually produce something. We are going to start a bunch. I say this every year and I've never actually done it, and this is the year. I would like to start a bunch of broccoli and a bunch of cauliflower and cabbages and stuff in like July inside to plant out like mid to end of August for the fall garden. Especially this past year, we had a really warm fall and things like carried through a lot longer. Our frost was a lot later than it normally would be. Obviously, that could be completely different this year, but I am hoping that we'll have kind of somewhat similar conditions so that, my gardening can extend a little bit more into the fall. I plan on planting a lot more things in the fall than I've done in the past. I've planted a couple things here and there, and I kind of just, at that point, give up. But this year, I really want to stick it out and see the fall garden through. So I'm not starting a ton of brassicas today. I'm just starting some to have for the spring garden. So first, I'm going to grab down all the seed trays that I need to resow all those, moisten them up first, and then get to the brassicas. I'll show you guys what I'm starting there. All right, now that I got all the onions and celery resown, they're all on heat mats. And the white onions actually germinated okay for how dry they had gotten. There's probably I don't know, half a dozen white onion seeds up out of 64. So not a ton, but a little bit better than the other ones. There's one red onion and no yellow onion. So I just resowed all of those. And no celery up. So I'm really hoping now that I know to keep them more moist and be able to water from the top, at least initially, I hope that we can have better germination. And so now on to brassicas, which I'm very excited about. So I kind of had figured out how many of everything I was starting, a while ago. Now, some of this, the brassicas especially, was based off of me doing 4-inch pots instead of my 2-inch pots that I normally do. I have a bunch of 4-inch pots. And the reason I was going to do those was because I wanted to start them so much earlier. And I thought, oh, well, they're not going to go out for like months. But in reality, they're probably going to go out in a month and a half. 2 months would be max. And I don't necessarily really think I need 4-inch pots. If I end up needing to up pot, that's fine. But I don't necessarily think I need 4-inch pots. So my numbers might change slightly to be able to fit. I can fit 32 of the 2-inch pots in one of these trays. I had a couple trays planned out. So I was going to do 10 green cabbage, 20 broccoli, 20 Brussels sprouts, 2 kale, and 8 cauliflower, which is a total of 60. So I'll do 64 instead of 60. So I'll add 4 more because that'll be 2 trays. This was going to be actually quite a few trays because I can only fit 10 of the 4-inch pots in a tray. But I can reduce it down to 2 trays. I'll start all these. So cabbage, I'm going to do, typically, let's see. I have a couple different green cabbages, but the one I prefer to do is, let me find it. Golden Acre is the one I'm going to do. These are a couple years old. Yeah, 2021. But this is from Baker Creek. That's what I'm gonna do this year. I've done like this Ezekiel. Let's see if I can find that one too. Glory. It's not Ezekiel. It's not Ezekiel. I don't know how to say it though, but I call it Ezekiel because that's just how it's not even close to Ezekiel. But that's the one I've normally done. And I have good success, but I'm going to try a different one this year. And in the fall, for the fall garden, I'll try a couple different varieties. But for the spring, I just want to get, one variety in, have some cabbage for the spring, and then go from there. Then for broccoli, it's Calabrese broccoli, very traditional green broccoli. I have multiple packs of that. So Calabrese broccoli. I'm going to do a couple cauliflower. I'm just going to do this one. Robber. And then, let's see, Brussels sprouts. I had these Brussels sprouts seeds, Long Island Brussels sprouts. So I have, 20 Brussels sprouts. That's going to be a lot. Some of them are actually not for me, though, the Brussels sprouts. Some of those are going to be for my mother-in-law. She loves Brussels sprouts, so I can grow her a couple. And then kale. I'm going to do a couple kale plants, and I have a ton of kale. And I'm going to just kind of pick one to do. Let's see. Let's go with Ragged Jack. That was actually a free seed. I have like multiple of these packets, and some of them were free and some of them weren't. So those are the plants we're going to start. First, I'm going to fill pots and then get those seeds sown. So I just thought about this because of all these seeds I'm starting are very small seeds. Broccoli small, cauliflower, cabbage, they're all smaller seeds, which I should have done with the celery because those are tiny seeds. Those are like basil sized seeds. I'm going to fill the pots primarily with the potting mix and then top them with this seed starting mix, which is like coconut coir, and it's very fine. And then the seed can sit right in that nicer and germinate a little bit easier. But then there's still the potting mix for nutrition once they germinate. I used to use the seed starting mix almost exclusively and then a pot into a potting mix. First of all, it just is more work, but also the seed starting mix itself doesn't really have much in the way of nutrients. So once they germinate, they needed to be up potted almost right away because they lacked the nutrients, and that's not the greatest thing to do. So now let's fill pots. All right, so I've got my helper down here. She helped me fill all these. So we filled them all with the potting mix about 3/4 of the way up, and then left the last quarter for the seed starting mix. So that is on top. I moistened them all. Now we're gonna start seeds. So we'll start, like I said, 20 or 10 cabbage, 20 broccoli, 20 Brussels sprout, 2 kale, and 8 cauliflower.
Wait,
ready?
Only 2 kale?
Yeah, we don't eat a ton of kale. And you can eat off of it, and it grows more. Right? We'll probably grow some more in the fall again. All right, I'm gonna get my seed markers, and then we'll get planting. All right, so we're gonna do the kale first. So we're gonna poke just a little tiny divot in the pots, and then kale. Woo! That's way too many. All right, just put like 2 seeds in each.
Come off me. Come off me.
And then 2 seeds in that one.
I have 1. I have to get to it.
Oh, you have to get another one? Okay. Good?
Yeah. Come off me.
I gotta get them all off because a lot of these seeds all kind of look the same. We're gonna just very gently cover. All right, why don't we do Brussels sprouts next? So you're gonna write Brussels sprouts. That's how you're gonna spell it.
Do you want me to do BS?
Yeah, you can do BS. You know what BS also stands for?
No.
I won't tell you then.
Why?
Because it's bad thing. All right, put it right here. And then we know from this point on to until we get to other ones, that's all Brussels sprouts. So we're doing 20 Brussels sprouts. So 1, 1, 2,
3, 4,
wait, 1. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, so same thing. We'll probably put 2 seeds in each, especially because these seeds are a little bit older. So we want to make sure we get germination. So I'm going to help. I'll put some in too.
Okay. So 2 in each?
About 2 in each. You kind of just grab a couple and put them in. You don't have to count exactly.
No clue how many putting in, but
That's all right. As long as you're putting a couple.
not just 1.
Right. We don't want 1 because we don't want them to not germinate. We want to at least get 1 to germinate.
Wait, did you do that row?
No, I'm doing this row behind you. Did you do this whole one?
Yeah.
Okay. Then here, put the seeds in there. Okay, so that one's going to go right here. So we know from these are Brussels sprouts and this is cabbage. We got to kind of remember that.
Cabbage starts here and cabbage.
Yeah, normally I have them go that way. So I should have done the Brussels sprouts over here. Actually, let's do that. Push those 2 Brussels sprouts over. Over to here. Yep, those 2. And then we'll do cabbage, because then I know cabbage starts here and it goes this way. All right, so let's make our little divots. Okay, so we ended up with 22 broccoli and 10 cauliflower instead of 20 broccoli and 8 cauliflower because, again, we were doing 64 instead of 60. So Kaylee is a good helper. She labeled everything. These will go on heat mats. I only have 1 more heat mat. I have little ones, but they take like 3 plugs to fill one of these trays. So I'm not even going to use it. They'll go on heat mats once the onions are all germinated or the celery is all germinated. I'll take one of those heat mats. So one of the trays is going to go on a heat mat first, and then the other one will eventually. These actually don't need super warm soil anyways to germinate, so they may germinate without a heat mat anyways. So we will keep you guys updated on all the seeds, but I am so excited to really get going on the gardening. Peppers is next. What did you say when I told you that earlier?
I think it's almost spring then.
It is almost spring. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. Remember, we're growing today for a better tomorrow. Please like and subscribe and join me on the next one.